Got to take a break from the jail
let's
and
get
stuff.
it back to the Eagles.
For just 1 second. So last year, I became a full-fledged convert of the Nick Sirianni cult. Right? I think I was most impressed. There were three things that impressed me the most about Sirianni. One, their ability to bounce back from adversity. They seemed, every turn of adversity, it seemed like they looked it right in the face and they got better from it. I also started believing in the culture CEO thing. It seemed like a big job, and the idea that he could just concentrate on that while having his hand on in everything, I think, I bought that as well. And I also bought the culture thing, that he was, it was hearing the players repeating the things that he was saying and sort of living up to it, right? And all of the questions that I had about Nick, I also was really impressed with his ability to learn from his past mistakes. It seemed like he grew a lot in the first 4 years of being a head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. I would say this year has shaken my confidence in Nick as the head coach. I don't put everything on him, and it's not like I don't see a future of him as a head coach, but I think this year, all of the things that I was so confident in last year, I've been shaken this year. From a culture standpoint, it does. This year has felt off for several weeks. All the leaks have not, on top of the AJ thing, which I thought was handled just the wrong way. It wasn't handled sternly enough. It wasn't shut down quick enough, and it led to the other leaks that in some way have contributed to this season sort of unraveling. From an accountability standpoint, like, his three things are tough, detailed, and together. They have the fifth most penalties in the NFL. That's not detailed. We look at the offensive, not everybody not knowing where they're supposed to be. That's not detailed. They haven't felt together, and I can tell you on Friday they didn't feel tough at all. And then from the CEO head coach standpoint, I'd gotten to a point where I thought it was an advantage to have the head coach be the offensive coordinator, but I didn't think we needed it. But here we are, 12 games into the season, and there's an argument about the offensive coordinator because the offense doesn't look great or whatever. And it just seems like every year, if we have a successful offense, we're going to have to restart that again with another offensive coordinator. And if we don't have a successful offense, we're not really going to have any solutions because that's not the head coach. So I like Nick. I want to believe in Nick. I would say that this year has shaken my confidence in Nick that I had coming into this season.
Yeah, you know what? I think what they are learning right now is the difficulty of what it's like to meet the expectation of being a champion, right? Last year wasn't necessarily the expectation of being a champion until it was much later in the year. Last year was more the expectation of 2023 isn't who we truly are. Let's get back to being who we truly believe ourselves to be. And that led to a championship. Things lined up perfectly. Saquon was a godsend. The fact that he stayed healthy with the amount of touches he had last year. The fact that they were still able to be an effective offense with really being a one-dimensional offense for the most part of last year.
One of the most one-dimensional offenses we've ever seen here.
But your defense came together much quicker than we all anticipated under Vic Fangio in his first year. And this year, I've been thinking about what has ailed this team more than anything this year. And there are some injuries here and there, particularly on the offensive line. Listen, I don't even know if Jalen Carter is completely healthy. He's had shoulder issues he's been dealing with. They got banged up in Dallas. I say this to say, I don't think any differently about Nick Sirianni as the head coach this year than I've thought about him any other year. And here's why. I think he's the same guy, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I think he approaches this thing the way that he sort of sees it fit and best suited to do. He is more of a connected coach with his players. All those things are there. But there's something to having success and having attained success from a human nature standpoint do you have the same desire and hunger to attain and achieve the success at the highest level again? That's not a question that I have about Nick Sirianni as a coach. He's not taking shortcuts. He's not practice isn't over with earlier. He isn't taking it light on guys. They still had a hard training camp. They practice hard. They still put on pads. All the things he's normally done. He's preaching messages about togetherness, overcoming adversity, all of those things that worked with his players that they received last year when they had something to prove. Our biggest issue this year is complacency.
But isn't that on him?
It's on him to overcome it.
Right.
And I agree, but I don't blame him for complacency being there. Today's athletes are different.
Mm-hmm.
How hard can he be with these guys? Right? So you can't do some of the things other coaches have done in the past to sort of keep guys in line. He's trying all these same things, the same messaging that he's used in the past, and maybe even trying to give it to them a different way. But ultimately, the principles of what he's saying remains the same. And this is more or less about the players buying into it. And agree, again, you're right. He's ultimately responsible for that. He is. That's
his job.
Part of the job as a head coach.
We give him credit when it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I totally understand that. So he's not absolved from it. I'm just saying I haven't lost any confidence in him from that standpoint. I am disappointed that I don't think the players are as locked in and tuned in to winning a championship this year and proving people wrong the way they were last year. If anything, they are distracted by other things.
215-592-9494. Has this year shaken your confidence in Nick Sirianni? Let me ask you, the one thing you didn't talk about there, how much of the head coach not being the offensive coordinator thing do you think about this year given the circumstances? And again, this is moving forward.
Again, it doesn't change for me.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't change for me. And this is where it's going to fall back maybe a little bit more on Howie this offseason. Let's be honest. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are sort of judged and looked at the same.
Mm-hmm.
For better or for worse.
That they're a product of their talent around them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Is the talent around them doing what they normally do, which allows Nick and Jalen to be who they have been. We attained the success with them this way, expecting it to be different. In other words, just like I don't expect Jalen all of a sudden become this pocket passing, anticipatory thrower and over the middle and all this other stuff that we long for at times. I don't expect that to change. I don't expect Nick to all of a sudden become a play caller and understand how to call plays and all the other stuff. Like, this is what he's been good at and best at. They are going to have to figure out a way to get the right coordinator in position to get the offense back on track. And then maybe there's some things that maybe need to be tweaked personnel-wise that changes the dynamic in the locker room. Or here's the third thing, which is probably the most likely thing. This is a talented enough roster that this is just a Super Bowl hangover.
Yes, I think it's possible.
And maybe a season like this snaps everybody back to where they were in 2024, and everybody comes in next year with a different frame of mind and hunger and everything else. This is a talented roster. I can't sit here and say, Howie, you need to go change the roster, make over the roster. They got great young talent over there ready to be tapped into, and you got guys on offense that are literally in the prime of their career, not past the prime. We'll find out about Saquon. I think there's still enough juice in that orange that you can squeeze a year or two out of Saquon. He'll bounce back next year. The talent part of it is not as big of a question for me. It's what the motivation is, the focus is, and whether or not they're receiving the message.
Yeah, I think, and to be clear, I'm not even sure that Kevin Patullo is not a good offensive coordinator.
Right, I don't even blame him.
No, I think for me, it's more the idea that there will be this, what's the door that spins around? Revolving door of offensive coordinators. You got it right, Jack. Thank you.
Yeah, take that.
That there will be and in the NFL in 2025, the good offensive coordinators just get snapped up.
Yeah.
You know, they do, and that's what's going to happen. So, and it really is. Even if the Eagles' offense was awesome this year, Patullo
would be in line for a head coaching job.
Would be in line for a head coach. So we'd have to do this thing all over again.